Hello. Eating my cereal. Thought I'd check in and say hey, let you guys know where I've been, because I haven't been posting the last couple weeks. So, I'm a huge Crispix fan. I don't know if anybody else is. And Kellogg's went on strike maybe like a month or two ago. I really don't know anything about it. I have not done any research, but it caused a incredible supply shortage of Kellogg's cereal in the stores, and Crispix was out for like weeks and weeks, and both my boyfriend and I love that cereal. We eat it almost every day, and my mother and my mom and my brother also eat that cereal every single day, and so all of us were just like devastated, going to as many grocery stores as possible trying to find the last bits on the shelf before they totally ran out. And I was so surprised because Crispix is not a fun cereal, guys. It's not sugary, it's not like colorful, it's not made for kids, and I'm just surprised that that's the one that ran out first, you know, and stayed gone the whole time. Like, there were like chocolate Frosted Flakes that were still available, and other Kellogg's cereal that I totally would imagine would be gone first. But anyways, Crispix is finally back on the shelves. Thank you, Kellogg. Hopefully you're paying your workers what they want to be paid. And every time we go to the store now, even though we have literally 4 boxes in the pantry right now, just on hold, we still grab a couple more because we're just like, never again do I want to be left without Crispix. I have been so busy fixing up and selling my old car. I made a video on my Patreon, I guess, where I announced that I had bought a car and like what it was costing me every month, and like it was more about on the budget side of things. But yes, I bought a car. My first adult car purchase, because the car that I had before the one that I just bought is my very first car ever. And I did I did pay for that car myself. Probably about 75% of it I paid for myself with, like, you know, really just money that I had saved. I was working summers at the time. I was working some weekdays in like late high school to help me pay for that car. And my parents chipped in to help me get all the way to the cost of the car. So I paid about 75% of it, and they helped me with the rest. And I have been driving that car since I got it. And I think it's been like 9 years on that car, and it was already an old car. It was a 2008 Subaru, and there's like all kinds of, you know, once you have a car for that long, it needs more attention and more parts replacements than just like the generic oil change and like new tires and that kind of thing. So it kind of hit a rut and was giving me some engine problems. And so that's what inspired me to get a new car, because I would take it into the shop. And the last few times I've taken it into the shop for like checkups, the bills of things that they want to replace have just been like so high. And just like, you know, more than a couple $1,000s is more than the car is worth at this point, honestly. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to think about it, and maybe I'll fix a couple of these things up myself. Maybe I won't, and I'll just sell it as is. Because also right now used cars are going for out the yin yang. So I was like, don't touch my car to the dealership when I took it in for the checkup. But give me like the list of things that you think are wrong with it. And I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was super nervous, and I took all that information home with like a starting bill of almost $2,000 of what they wanted to do. That I didn't actually have to pay for that because they didn't do any of the work. And I was just like freaking out for a few days of like, I can't drive this car safely anymore. It's no longer reliable. The things that they want to do to replace it, they don't know to replace like the parts that they think need replacing. The dealership didn't know exactly what was wrong. Do they ever, though? They're like, oh, they basically gave me a list of 10 items within the car, like under the hood. And they were like, we're going to start with these and we'll go from there. And they were like, we don't even want to drive the car right now because it sounds so bad. So my car was in great shape. And then all of a sudden, one day, I just like hit a jolt and the engine started rumbling and all these crazy things. And so I actually ended up getting to the root of the problem myself, which was so rewarding. But I took home their laundry list of to-dos and I ended up buying a car myself, which was a monster of a process, only because I found a car on Facebook Marketplace that I loved, and I went and test drove it, and it was the first car I test drove, and I promise, okay, like I'm not very knowledgeable about cars, but I promise I'm not the girl who's just like going out and the first car that like looks pretty, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Like, we did our due diligence. We looked up all the information we could on the car. We spoke with the owner for hours, drove the car around multiple times. I saw it at night. I saw it in the daylight. I felt very confident in my decision to move forward. And anyway, so I bought that car from this gentleman who was still financing the car, if that makes sense. So when he bought the car, he went to the bank and he got a car loan. And so they helped him pay for the car, and he has been paying the bank back ever since, as one does. And he just needed a larger car because his family is growing, and he has family coming in from out of town. And anyway, so they needed a larger vehicle. And so that's like the primary reason he wanted to sell the car. So he had not finished paying off the car, and I also was going to need to finance the car. I was going to need to get a loan from the bank so that I could purchase this car. First of all, I didn't know that there's quite a few banks, and my primary bank is Chase, and they were just like, we don't do auto loans for private sales, which is when you buy a car from an individual, like somebody on Facebook Marketplace or something. They will give you auto loans for an approved list of vendors, like of dealerships. And that's it. I was like, what? How are these people paying for these cars and all these private sales? Because like I would guess at least like 40% of the car sales market is people buying cars from other people, right? Not everybody is rolling up to a dealership and getting a car. So I could not, that like baffled me. But I ended up going to a credit union that was like more than happy to give me the car loan, and I was like, great. So then it was a whole long process once I got the auto loan from them and I bought the car. Because the gentleman I bought the car from had moved with his vehicle, and he had gotten his auto loan from a credit union in California, I had to wait for California to get the money from my credit union saying like, yes, she bought the car from your guy. And I had to wait for them to get that money and then sign off on the title of the vehicle. Like, okay, we're transferring the ownership now. Like, we're giving up ownership. And they had to send it to my credit union. And then I had to go pick it up from my credit union and take it to a titling office. And there's all kinds of rules with like the Department of Licensing that says you have 15 days to report like a vehicle sale. You have 45 days before it's like a felony to be driving around a car. Maybe it's not a felony, I don't know, but it's a crime to be driving around a vehicle after 45 days when you don't have your name on the title. And so I was like freaking out. And the title well past 15 days. Like it took them, and both of the banks were like, no, yeah, this is gonna take 4 to 6 weeks. We fully expect that, like don't worry about it. I called everyone multiple times during the process just to make sure that like nothing was getting lost, everything was being taken care of. And they were like, yep, we've sent it to processing now, like everything's moving as it should. And it's just like, how is there this disconnect between what citizens are told they need to do to obey the laws surrounding vehicle sales and ownership and what the banks are going to do in terms of transferring the title? Like there's a huge gap there, and I'm sure plenty of people would be in the same situation that I was in, yeah, something needs to change over there. But anyways, I finally got my title. I had not yet reached 45 days. I was at like day 43 though, so I was definitely biting my nails. And I went and got the vehicle titled in my name, and that was that. So now she owned a new car with the title all squared away and a car loan, and was chipping away at that. And I still had my old car. And so the gentleman who actually sold me my new car is super into cars. Another reason I felt really comfortable buying from him without seeing a bunch of other cars. He's super into cars, and I was telling him about my Subaru troubles and like what inspired me to go on a car hunt, and he was like, no way, like let me help you fix it and we could sell it. And I was like, really? You're gonna do that for me? So all the money to sell it was gonna be mine, but I was going to buy the parts and rent a car lift at like a local car garage, which I didn't even know was an industry that existed, like just like a shop, a garage where you can go and pay by the hour to use these huge like lifts for cars. Anyways, so he helped me like replace all the things that the dealership recommended. The car was running great. It took a few tries and a few times where like the error code coming from the engine would switch around a couple times, but we got everything squared away and I was so happy and it was amazing, and I sold my car. So that's what I've been doing. The last few weeks it's been a little bit of hell, but I learned so much. I'm the person who will take my car into the shop just for an oil change, just for wiper replacements. Like I really will. And I feel like I fully replaced spark plugs, like the belt in the engine, idler pulley, drive belt tensioner, all of the ignition coils on a 6-cylinder engine, and I just feel so accomplished after having learned that. And I hope that I can take that knowledge and put it onto my new car. So yeah, that's where I've been. It's been nuts, but I'm really glad that I went through that experience. And I'm sorry that I've been missing from the socials, but here I am, I'm back. I have some videos though in the works. I'm gonna be filming a 5K video, which I'm really excited for. I'm a runner, I run all the time, and I know that it's hard sometimes to get yourself up to a new distance or a new level of accomplishment fitness-wise, especially if you're not a runner at all and you're thinking like a 5K is like what maybe some people don't even know what K means. So it's gonna be like really rudimentary, maybe not for everyone, but hopefully everyone can find a little something in there that's helpful, and I'm excited for it. So yeah, stay tuned and I'll get back with you guys later. See ya.